I understand Joe Thornton had said that he had talked with you guys, with you a fair bit before making his decision, and he said it was a tough decision to make. Just from your end, your thoughts on him going to Toronto, what he's meant to the franchise, and what he's meant to your personal friendship.
Well, first, thanks for asking about the family. I appreciate that. I want everybody to be safe and healthy during these unique times. The emotions I feel are and this is after talking to Joe and Tabea, is really just appreciation and reflection. I wanted Joe to have all the time he needed to make the decision that was right for him, with all the unique factors that are in play right now, and I truly respect his decision. It's hard to put into words the impact that Joe had on our franchise over the last 15 seasons. Hard to believe he came here as a 26-year-old and now is 41. He's still childlike in his love for the game. And I think there's probably very few players in all sports that can alter a franchise in the way that he has. And, I was just looking at his bio, and his bio for his entire career is incredible. But you take a look at what he did just in San Jose alone. Even that first season, I think we had lost 10 straight when we acquired him. We won the next 6. I think in all the years since he's been here, I think we're only behind Pittsburgh in wins and points. I think he played more than 1,100 games. I think he had 1,055 points, Hart Trophy, Art Ross, multiple All-Star games, gold medals, Olympics, World Cup. I think 144, 145 Stanley Cup playoff games, 4 conference finals, cup finals in 16. So those are, the things that I reflect and appreciate. But I think even more than the numbers, he set a culture of professionalism, an unmatched love of the game of hockey, and he really helped solidify, I think, the city of San Jose as a true hockey town. As a general manager, it's rare to be blessed with a player, and even more importantly, a person like Joe. We're a better franchise because of the time he spent here. And I also know, when I talk about Joe the person, that's what I really cherish. How important family is to him, how, Tabea and River and Isla and his love for his mom and dad and his brothers. His mom and dad, Wayne and Mary, travel. And I know, with this unique season, being around Toronto and the proximity to being close to his family is going to be really important. But those are the thoughts that I have. And also, all the players that have been around him, we're going to be better for it. I mean, we've got players now that will be able to be prepared to step into leadership roles because of being around Jumbo. Young players that'll be able to seize the opportunities that'll come, with him moving to Toronto. And it's so those are the things I really do. I just appreciate. It's been a gift and a privilege to have him with this organization for 15 years.
Let's go with Kevin Kurz.
Yep. Morning, Doug. Obviously everyone knows how beloved Joe is inside the organization, inside that dressing room. What sort of effect do you think it'll have removing him from the group?
Well, I think, it's much like when Patty went to Toronto. There's so many mixed emotions because the love and respect for him, the love for the game, like he epitomizes the game of hockey. That's the value that it's going to transcend whether he's here or not, because they saw it and they learned it. And make no mistake, Joe Thornton will be back in the Bay Area. There'll be a day that we'll celebrate and acknowledge in an appropriate manner that he is a Shark and will always be a Shark. But I think, like when Patty went to Toronto, you had players like Timo Meier, Kevin Labanc, Barclay Goodrow, Tomas Hertl step up and evolve their game. But you don't replace, the love of the game, the passion, the energy that he brings. It's up to everybody else to saw what he did, how he lived his life, emulate that, and bring it to the table so we can reestablish our game and our team. But he's one of a kind, and anybody that's ever spending time around him, it's infectious. And we're very, very fortunate. And I can't even use the word appreciation enough for what he's brought to all of us.
If I could just follow it up with one quick one, obviously Logan's going to go into his second year as captain. Does this make it more incumbent upon him to kind of step up as a leader and bring everyone together when you're removing someone like Joe from the lineup?
I think you have to have a whole leadership group. It's on a whole group of players. It's not a one-person leadership mentality. And I think a lot of them, yes, you've got, some of the veterans that certainly know it's their responsibility, but some of the younger guys too. Tomas Hertl, Timo Meyer, Kevin Labanc, it's their time. They need to step up to the next level. We have to be the sum of all our parts. There's teams around this league that have, lost some good players. Some teams lost their best players in their primes, and they found their team game. They found their collective connection and had a lot of success. So there's a lot of parity in this league. We need everybody to bring something to the table, learn from what happened last year, reestablish our game, and bring that love and juice and energy that Jumbo brought to the rink.
Okay. Chang, you might be, oh, there you go.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I didn't hear that. Doug, Joe said that things kind of came together over the last 5 or 6 days with Toronto. Can you just talk about that process, speaking with him over the last week that led him, I guess, eventually to leaving the Sharks? And also, too, up to that point over the last week, were you under the impression that Joe was coming back?
Well, Joe and I have a very open, honest relationship. We always have. And I shared with him, the things that we were doing. We weren't going to, in this year's draft, we had ended up drafting 9 forwards. We needed to rejuvenate and replenish our system. I wasn't really in a position to move potentially our first round pick next year. So I shared all the information I could with him with where we're at. And I wanted him to make the right decision for him, for everything he's done for all of us. And I didn't want to put any pressure on him. This is just a unique time and place. We haven't played for a long time. We're dealing with a pandemic. We're not sure when we're going to start next year. So I wanted him to have all the information he needed to make the right decision for him. And that's why the process, I talked to him every couple of days. I talked to Tabea yesterday. That's how I would want to be treated when you make a decision to have all that information. And I respect and support his decision because, we left the door open, but we also wanted him to, again, make that decision for himself and his family.
Chris Pashalka.
Good morning, Doug.
Morning, Chris.
I'm hoping you could clarify why exactly was a trade didn't come together at the deadline in February. Obviously, Joe wanted to go. I'm sure you're out shopping him and looking and talking to other teams. Why exactly was a deal not made?
Joe and I were working on it together. There just wasn't a team that matched that he wanted to go be part of, or a team that needed a centerman or that type of fit. So it was, we worked together on that just as I did with Patty Marleau, and we just couldn't get a match. It just didn't come together.
Kevin?
Yeah, Doug, obviously maybe if you're looking at this from a Sharks fan's perspective, you would say, well, Joe Thornton was clear that he went to Toronto to try to win a Stanley Cup. And then, the inverse of that is, well, he doesn't believe that the Sharks aren't set up to try and win a Stanley Cup this year. How would you maybe respond to that suggestion?
Well, I think they had a better year than we did last year. We have to reestablish our game. We've got to get our best players back healthy, which they are, and Logan and Tomas and Eric. We had to rejuvenate. We've got to have an infusion of youth. We've got to have, playing the game the right way for longer periods of time. So that's a fair and honest evaluation with how it sits today. And it's up to us to go change that. And, Joe is at 41 is looking at, what the runway left is an opportunity. So I fully understand that. But we as an organization have gone through this a couple of times before in the past, and we bounced back very quickly. And in this league, there's teams that did the same thing. So it's up to us to go to work, get back at it, learn from what happened last year, get the guys healthy. And unfortunately, with the long period of time of not playing or practicing or having development camp, that's the same for the majority of teams. That's the unknown in this. So there's, I think, a lot of unknowns and complexities in this decision-making process for Jumbo, and we talked about that a lot. But as far as our team, we expect when we do start up to be ready to go, healthy, with guys with a chip on their shoulder, and that's not a bad thing.
Chris?
Doug, if just looking at a couple of websites, looks like you have about $3 million now in cap space before next season. Do you plan to use that? Would you like to save a little maybe for maybe during the course of the season? And are you comfortable now with the depth you have down the middle?
Well, I mean, again, this is I've got 8 or 9 centermen that are all going to vie and fight for those 2 spots in their opinions and their minds. And now, having said that, we added some veteran, with Patty Marlowe coming back and Steph Nason, Matty Nieto. We've got 5 top 6 forwards that guys have scored 30 goals or close to 60 points. We need somebody to come in and compete for that spot. I like our defense. I want to leave a spot open or for some competition for some of the younger guys, but you're always looking. What I said, we need to reestablish our game. We think we have the bones of a good team. We have some competition. We have some young guys coming in. Would it be nice to add some things? We probably have to reestablish certain areas of our game and earn some things to be added, but we certainly have that flexibility to do that. Again, I can't stress enough how important this last draft was to replenish. With the 9 picks, all of them being forwards, that was important. We've got some guys that had a taste last year. They're now going to be a year older by the time we start up, or close to being a year older. So we think they're ready to compete. Competition is a healthy thing. Having the ability to add a piece as we go forward, or 2 pieces, is important. As you know, the cap space grows within the season. How we decide to use that will be decided going forward here, and what the opportunities that arise.
You had players like Barclay Goodrow and Brendan Dillon last year who were willing to stand up for a teammate. Does this team need that element going to next season?
Well, I think if you take a look, you got to have a blend. You've got to have a bit of everything. We've got some size. You take a look at the Canes and the Timos and then Tomashes, and we've got Steph Nason's a big guy, and we've got some guys that within our system. So you have to have a blend, but I think we have to play a little quicker. I think we have to have that juice and energy infusion that like a Mario Ferraro brought to us last year. Doesn't mean you're going to play perfect and not make mistakes, but having that energy and excitement, and I think the spirit and attitude comes when you had a bad year and you can't wait to get back. Unfortunately, by us having to wait as long, the guys are chomping at the bit, and they can't really prove or show what they want to do until we get back in a training camp and start the season. But we're looking forward to the season getting started. When it does, our players will be ready. They'll be healthy. They'll be rested. But I think they'll have that attitude, and that can go a long way sometimes.
I think that you said the last time we talked to you that maybe you were looking at maybe putting a few more players overseas. You have any updates on that, and who else might be going over there?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that you want players playing. You want them staying healthy and training, but getting some repetitions in games. So we're still working on that right now. I think we've probably got 15 or 16 guys that are doing that. When I finish this call, I've got a couple more calls and maybe placing some guys over there, because what a guy does during this cycle, some of the veteran guys that are training hard and resting, but the younger guys growing their game by playing in some games, like a Marcus Sorensen is playing over in Sweden and doing extremely well. That's good for him to reestablish his confidence, because 2 years ago he scored 17 goals. He didn't like his game last year. It's a contract year, so he's going to come back highly motivated. Him playing over there, I think, is a smart move at this point. So we're exploring that with some other players.